Yo, what is happening? Welcome back to the 182 News Podcast. This is your host, Poppin' Curbs, and I appreciate you tuning in to another episode. Today is a fun one. I'm joined alongside two special guests. I have Allan Corona along with David Celis. So Allan, you probably know, I had him on a previous episode several back. He makes insane replica bass guitars of Mark's. And I had him on to discuss his process and how he goes about doing it, why he does it. And David is, I know, a Blink fan. He's an illustrator. He's currently in Dubai. And little did I know, these two were collaborating on a special bass guitar gift that they were going to give to Mark. Originally, it was supposed to be for his birthday, but for those of you who watch Mark's Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Mark Hoppus, you may have seen about a month ago, Mark revealed a brand new bass guitar. It's beautiful, it's rad, it's got a lot of cool stuff drawn on it, and I wanted to get the story on this. So these are two of my buddies. I thought it would be rad to have them on and discuss this process because they kept this a top secret. I had no clue about this until it was handed off to Mark and I saw Mark appear with it on Twitch. So I thought this would be a fun conversation to kind of get the inspiration behind them, why they did this, was anything changed, some of the Easter eggs that are drawn onto it. So stoked to have these two on. I think at the end of this episode, I'm going to drop on, I did a cover of Wasting Time, and I'm usually not super into covers, but that song was stuck in my head and I was having some fun on guitar and I threw it up on the 182 News YouTube channel. Some of you may have seen it there. I may pop that in at the end of this just for the heck of it. It's my pod, so whatever. Other than that, I don't have too much to dig into news-wise. I want to focus on this conversation with David and Allan. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoy it. Again, if you ever have any feedback on this or want to reach out to me, feel free to hit me up. I'm at Poppin' Curbs on Twitter and Instagram. And without further ado, let's talk to Allan and David. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now joining us on the 182 News Podcast, we have two special guests for the first time in podcast history. The one and only Allan Corona, bass making extraordinaire, is back on the pod. Allan, how are you?
Good. Thank you for having me once again. How are you, man?
I'm doing all right, man. I appreciate you coming back. So for those of you who didn't listen to the previous episode, I had Allan on for a full episode. He makes insane replica Mark Hoppus bass guitars that are just beautiful, beautiful guitars. He shared his story, his process on those. So definitely go back and check that one out if you haven't heard it. I got a ton of good feedback on that. People really enjoyed that. And today we are also joined alongside my buddy David Celis, who is an illustrator currently in Dubai. David, what's happening, man?
Hey, Ryan, how are you? How's it going?
I'm doing good, well, man. Yeah, it's a rainy Saturday here in Indiana, so hanging out inside, and I appreciate you guys taking time to hop on the pod. So what we got to get into, I noticed, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, you guys had a top secret project that came out of nowhere. You guys are my online Blink friends, and I had no clue about this thing. And all of a sudden, I see Allan has delivered a beautiful bass guitar to Mark that apparently you guys collaborated on. So I had to get the story on this just for myself, and I know the listeners want to hear what happened. So, tell me how the hell you guys came up with this idea, who started it, and we're going to get into the process, and David did the design and the illustration on this. And so whoever wants to take it off first, let me know how this idea even came about.
Okay, David, you want to go first?
No, I'll leave it up to you because I received them as go ahead.
Okay, so just like you said, the last time I was on the podcast, we talked about a little bit about the latest auction that Mark just had, and thankfully we were able to raise $7,700 that are going to be donated to CHLA. And that bass was used to track one of the new Blink-182 songs on the
That's
upcoming album.
insane. That's insane, dude.
Yes, when Mark showed me the song the day that we met, I was like, this is so awesome. Not only because the song was super rad, but the fact of knowing that a bass that I made was used to record a song on a new Blink album, it was just, like achievement unlocked. I was like
Oh
done.
my God.
I can die happily now. Um, so what gave me the crazy idea of maybe, going for it and making a base for Mark was the fact that he didn't auction it right away. And I saw that he was using it a lot on the Twitch streams. And I was like, okay, maybe he liked it. Maybe I'm not as a bad builder as I thought I was. And I think it was around mid-December during the holidays. Um, I just had the crazy idea. Okay, so Mark is really playing that a lot. He's actually, denting it more, wearing it more, and he's giving it his personal touch. So why not? Let's just make one for him. And if I can have it delivered by his birthday, it would be just so rad. And I knew that David was a friend of Mark as well, just like you. You're a close group, a Ghost of Tsushima friend group or gaming
Teammates.
group. Yes, exactly. And I started going through David's illustration Instagram profile, and I was like, okay, so this guy knows what he's doing. And I reached out to him. It's super convenient that he's, just like me, Latino. We were able to speak everything in Spanish. So Ryan, you need to catch up.
Oh shit.
Not
We're
at all,
screwed.
man.
From this
Not
point
at
on, it's
all. And ever since I brought the idea to David, he was so on board. And I think it took him a week or two, maybe, to deliver the first rough sketch. And I was like, if this is a sketch, I don't even want to know what you're capable of. This is so awesome. And we just went through a few reviews after the first deliver, and that's what I actually used on the I don't want to say its name yet, but on the base, on Mark's bases. So I think at this point, David should, try to tell us
yeah,
more about the art and everything. Because I was just
yeah,
like, hey, David, draw something that I can, transfer into the base. So tell us, how did you?
yeah. So basically, like, I mean, we all know, or from myself, I know Allan through your podcast, Ryan, and also because yeah, through Discord, I think was Tiny. She asked for a base from you, so she posted some pictures. I think that was the time that maybe Mark saw the pictures and he asked about you and stuff. And
Yeah.
of course, I went to your profile to stalk you because I found one for myself, of course. So yes, I was just like, wow, like this guy is incredible. Like I saw the base replica you did for Dav Smile, the one you did from Terminal Ratness, and I was just like, whoa, like the attention to detail is incredible, really. And yeah, I remember it was probably December 20 something. It was like the last days of the year, and Alan hit me up, and I was like, hey, how's it going? Like I want to talk to you about some project. Are you interested? Like yeah, for sure. Let me know. So we did like a quick Zoom call, and he told me about it. He told me like, yeah, like this is what I have in mind. Maybe like as a birthday present from Mark, we can create this base. So I will put the woodwork skills, and you will do like the illustration concept behind it. And I was like, fuck yeah, man. Can I swear by the way?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Sure. So it was like, fuck yeah. So yeah, of course, it was a no-brainer. I was like, for sure. And yeah, after that, we just started like talking about it. I spent so much time just thinking about the colors because, we all know like the different colors that Mark has right now. So yeah, we know that he has the Crayola, that he has Terminal Radness. So kind of like the palette of colors that he has already. And in my head was always like was always lettuce because I feel like it's been missing for a long period of time, maybe. And I was like, okay, like maybe that is the base color that I would like to start with. But I had other options nevertheless. I think I never sent them to Allan because I was like very like doubting which one should I go with. But yeah, but in the end, I was like, yeah, no, I feel like lettuce is the way to go. And then I start to like thinking about the colors. Now, let me know if we're diving too fast into it.
Oh
And
no, man. I want to dive so deep into this, but let me stop you just for a second because I want to give people a background of how I know you, David, and how I met you. So when I launched the pod, there was like two people who would always comment on my YouTube post of the pod, and it was David and one other person. And David was always like, "Keep up the good work, man. This is cool." So I knew you just from that, which I appreciated, and that was really cool. I knew your name from that. And then when Mark launched the Hi, my name is Mark Discord, which I guess was like end of August or September, I saw you on there and we kept in touch on there, always talking about Blink. And then long story short, you and I and TJ and Zach and Mark started playing Ghost of Tsushima all the time, a PlayStation 5 game. And for those of you listening, you may have seen us streaming. I mean, David, Mark, TJ, and Zach in Australia, we were like the Ghost of Tsushima team for Hi, my name is Mark. We would play it all the time. And so that's where I would talk to you all the time, David. That's where we became pretty friendly. So I just wanted to give a brief background of letting people know how the heck I even know you in general. Now, what's funny is me being from Indiana, it took me a long time to figure out your name was David and not David. I kept calling you David accidentally. And then towards the end, some of our last sessions, I don't know why, but we kept calling you Dawid, which I don't know if Mark made that up or who first said that. But the thing that cracks me up about Dawid is, and I laugh about this dude, honestly, probably every other day. This pops in my head and I laugh. So Dawid, to me, there's two things I think of. One, I think of I'm going on a trip to Jamaica, and as soon as I land, I'm met on the shore by a Rastafarian, and he comes out and he says, "Hey man, I got the weed. You want the weed? I got the weed." So that's the first thing I think of when I think of Daweed. The second thing is I think of Borat pronouncing dumpweed on enema. So I picture Borat saying, "My favorite band, Blink 182's opened enema with a Daweed. It's nice." So that's the backstory on that. I'm gonna keep calling you David for the sake of this, but when we're gaming, it's Daweed all day.
yeah.
So all right. Anyways, back to your designing. So obviously Allan is the expert here on making the bass. David is doing the illustrations, the design. You just said you were trying to figure out kind of what color palette to go with. You wanted to go with something different. How do you even, I mean, obviously, I don't think you've ever designed a guitar before. Where did you even begin to create this on, like technology wise? Were you doing this on a Surface or your iPad, or what were you even using to do this on?
So all my life, I started as a graphic designer. Then I became an art director, and from there, that's been my journey in advertising. So in those years, like you kind of use your graphic tablet. So you will say a Wacom, let's say. But this last year, I got myself just before the lockdown. I got myself an iPad because like I wanted to try something different, and I start playing on the iPad every now and then. So when we decided that we were gonna do this, I was like, okay, like I feel pretty comfortable on the iPad now. So yeah, let's try it. So of course I need to check first, of course, like the dimensions of the base. So when I give it to Allan, it's gonna be like properly like the right size. It's not gonna be too thin or too thick. So yeah, so it started from there, like on the iPad. And what else? What can I tell you? And yeah, like I started on my iPad. I started roughly sketching first on my sketchbook. I didn't send this to Allan first, but I used like concept wise, like putting aside the colors, like I wanted to capture more or less like the last year, like this kind of the lockdown period, which is, as you said, like where we got to meet kind of Mark from the streams, from playing with him, from all the inside jokes that we had in the Discord. So I wanted to incorporate all of this into that base, kind of like somehow like be the Discord base, if you want to say it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it started from there, and yeah, then after saying okay, this is gonna be the concept behind it, it was like the color part of the process. So I always loved lettuce. I always loved pinky, and I always thought that these two colors are also like the colors that are used in the Untitled record, which is today my favorite album.
Oh yeah.
As Allan says, it changes every day.
Totally.
But yeah, but then I was just like, okay, like maybe this is the two colors that I want to use mostly for this base. So yeah, so I started from there. Then I was like, okay, like we have obviously the octopus from Mark, from Hi, my name is Mark, and I was like, that gotta be there, of course. And maybe that is the how do you say, the device that is gonna blend everything together. So given that an octopus has 8 arms, I was like, okay, wait, tentacles. I will like put every tentacle attached to certain element of the Discord base, let's say. So if you have the base, like the image in front of you, Ryan, we have the banana mode. So you have like a katana, but it has the banana on it. So it's a clear reference to the banana mode that Mark will go and scream to our ears while
Yeah,
playing.
so for those of you who watched us play Ghost of Tsushima, there's a special ability that Mark had on his class, and I can't even remember. It's been so long since we've played that. I can't even remember what class was he. Do you remember, David?
I think it was samurai. Yeah, right.
Samurai. Yeah, samurai. So there was a special ability that you could build up, and Mark's basically you press a button once you get enough kills, and his guy would just go crazy and kill like 15 people in a row. And I can't even remember why he would yell, but he would just yell banana every single time. And so at the top of this base is that's really a badass like sword you drew, man. It has a banana peel coming out. Like I would get that tattooed, to be honest. So that was a really cool kind of one of one drawing you did there. So that's the history of the banana piece. So sorry, go ahead, continue.
Exactly. Yeah. Then what else do we have? Like, of course, when everything started, it was Mark with streams of Animal Crossing, and then there is this character from I know you have played it also, Ryan. Tom Nook, which is kind of like the badass of the of the island, who
Yeah.
rules everything, will destroy you if it must. So yeah, I wanted to have him there also to represent that part of that period of time in the beginning of the lockdown. So what else? I remember also seeing him also like saying that like Croix is the most amazing drink. I myself tried it when I passed by New York and met Mario at the time. We tried it and it was like, well, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not. But yeah, like I wanted to have also that element there. And what else do we have there? We have also in the just closer to the what do you call this part? Where is the logo of Ghost of Tsushima, Allan? The bottom
The
part,
bridge.
the bridge. Yeah, towards the bridge. We have there the logo of Ghost of Tsushima, and just next to it on the right, it's the Zelda Supreme. So it's a reference to that part of Mark that is kind of like a graphic designer is my passion.
Yeah. He
So it's
he
a
made a
reference.
he made a sticker that said Zelda Supreme, and I think he posted it somewhere, but I caught that reference. That's a great one.
Yeah. And what else do we have there? We have the curse image of this chicken with the miso bowl on top of it.
Oh my
That
gosh. This is
this
the chicken from hell. So one of the masks that you could unlock later in the game was this horrid chicken, and he's wearing like a flipped bowl on his head. And so Mark unlocked it, and we thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I ended up unlocking it, and we kind of joked around in the game, like, what if you get killed by this evil chicken thing, and this is the last image you have in your life is just this chicken staring over you. I'm so glad you put that on there, dude. That's clowning.
yeah, no, we loved it. And the thing is also like as I was doing this, like I had to put a lot of detail to kind of like make it recognizable. But I was also thinking of Alan because Alan had to put then this like make it by hand. I don't know at the time. I didn't know how Alan was gonna do it, but I was just like, oh, this is if he does it by hand, this is gonna be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And actually, I think it was right.
Yeah, for a second, after he delivered the first sketch, and then I went back to David's Instagram and I started, realizing that he uses a lot of watercolor. I was like, oh, damn it. Like, I think I picked the wrong guy because he's going to ask me to do something that I'm not going to be able to do with markers. I'm going to have to vinyl wrap the base. And I was on a tight budget. I didn't want to go all crazy on that. But then I was like, okay, you know what? It's Mark Hoppus. I gotta find a way. Like reference to Ian Malcolm. Life finds a way.
You
That's
gotta
what I
find a
had to
way.
do.
Yeah,
Exactly.
when I first saw this, and we'll get into Alan's application of this because when I first saw this, I thought it was a vinyl wrap. Like I thought there's no, like, how the fuck did you guys get all this on there? Because it's incredibly detailed. It's beautiful. So what, yeah, we'll get to that here in a bit. But there's a lot going on, man. It's an awesome design. And when I first saw it, I was just blown away. And instantly, yeah, I was like, how the hell did they pull this off? But we'll get there. So we've got the chicken head covered. What else is left on the front, David?
We have the line from the Plus 44 song, "Baby Come On." We have the past is only the future with the lights on.
Yeah, I'm
I think
so glad you put that there.
For me, it's also one of my favorite Plus 44 songs, if not my most favorite. But yeah, I wanted to have that part of Plus 44 also on the bass, because I mean, it's not as recognized as it should. Underrated might be the word. I don't know. But yeah, like I wanted to have a little bit of Plus 44 in the bass. And as you can see, everything behind it or around it is like underwater, which is where the octopus live, according to Animal Crossing. I don't know.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I was so glad you put the Plus 44 on there because I mean I'm sure you've heard. I mean Plus 44, I love. I mean that album means a lot to me. My fucking license plate on my car says Plus 44. I have the past is only the future with the lights on tattooed on my rib cage. And
okay.
Mark says that is routinely when asked what his favorite song he's ever written. I mean, he doesn't choose a blues song. He doesn't choose a Simple Creatures song or Damn It or anything like that. He chooses Baby Come On by Plus 44. So I was
Nice.
so happy you put that on there, man. It's dope.
Yeah. No, like myself, I also loved it. That record means a lot to me also. If I gotta pick one, I will say that Chapter 13 is my favorite of the record. But then, yeah, I mean, the whole record is amazing. I just cannot
Yeah.
start picking.
Totally.
And yeah, and then we move to the back of the bass. So we have here is where like I put the logo itself of "Hi, my name is Mark," but obviously we adapted to my style. So I play a lot with colors, with textures, with patterns, and I added a little bit de-ice on my style though. And what else do we have there? For instance, I said I love Untitled, but Nine is also one of my favorite Blink albums. And I don't know how it was for you guys, but for me, when the lockdown started and listening and watching the Happy Days music video, it hit extra hard. Like I was like, wow, fuck.
Oh,
Like
I teared up for sure.
yeah, like listening and watching the video, you're like, fuck, like this is it hits so hard. Like so to me, like that song means a lot now. And I wanted to add it also because yeah, it means a lot. So I had that line, I wanna feel happy days. Also like
And
also to the
if
yeah.
we can, if I can stop you real quick for a little bit, for everyone who heard the last podcast and for everyone who didn't, I mentioned that Nine wasn't my favorite album. I was, I hadn't had a chance to fully listen to it, and when I saw that David brought that up into the bass, I was like, God damn it, I'm not that fun with that song. And it wasn't until I started working on the bass and I started listening to Nine back and forth, I realized, holy crap, I've been so wrong. Nine is such a great album. It's full of emotion. It's, I don't know, it's so underrated. And just like I was talking to Ryan, California, Nine, they're both great albums. And a lot of people, they just like to talk shit because, oh, Tom is not in those albums. Matt is not as good as Tom. Well, if you don't like Blink anymore, then you don't like Blink. But man, I gave myself the chance to listen to Nine, and thank you, David. I owe it to you. It's such a great song as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nine's incredible, man. And I'm so happy that you put, I want to feel happy days on the back because that's such a simple line, but it just means so much, man. It's like, I want to feel happy days. And I feel like that all the time. I mean, I think
Hmm.
everybody's getting kind of sick of this lockdown. I've been sick. I've been dealing with stupid shit with my job. And it's like, man, I just want to feel happy days. And I know Mark wrote that, from a weird spot in his life, and the lyrics in that song are deep. So I'm glad you came around on Nine because I love that album. I still listen to it all the time, man. It's rad.
Yeah. What else do we have there? We also played with Mark Pokemon Go. So on the right of the octopus, you can see the Pokemon Go logo.
Oh,
Um,
sick. I didn't notice that one. Dope.
yeah, I feel like people miss it, but it's kind of like yeah, the Easter egg of the Easter eggs. But
Yeah.
And what else do we have there? On the top, on the left, we have also the at least a C plus, which is a reference to Animal Crossing, which is when you catch Sivas, that they come with these pun jokes, and it's like, oh, it's at least a C plus.
I know. I wish they would come up with a new joke, every third bass you catch or whatever. But yeah, every time you catch a fish, the bass in the game, it says, well, at least it wasn't a C plus or something like that. So that was a funny little Easter egg you threw on there for sure.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't play the game, like when you fish, this is the fish that always come. Like I don't know, 7 out of
Always.
it will be a Sivas, and you see this line through the game, like you're like, fuck.
Yep.
But
Over
yeah,
and over.
obviously, like it was like a Animal Crossing reference, but at the same time, it's like, well, at least this base gotta be at least a C plus, you know.
Yep. Totally.
And yeah, and finally we have our signatures right there. Like you can see on top of the octopus, you have David and Allan. And I did like for ourselves this little draw on the bottom left corner of the base, like the Allan inside a corona, a crown, you will say in English, right? And yeah, my illustration logo, if you must.
Oh, is that
And yeah,
your little logo in the bottom left, the little dude?
I mean, I don't. I just did it out of like that was the first draw that I did for my Instagram page. It wasn't thought as a logo. It's just like okay, I'll just put out something. So
Oh,
it's stuck. It's I like it. So
no, yeah, that's super rad. Was there anything that you wanted to put on there that you left off?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
what
Now that
what didn't
mentioned
make
there,
it?
yeah, like there was also a few elements from Last of Us 2 Part 2 that I wanted to incorporate. I know you're playing it. The tattoo that Ellie has on
Oh
his right
yeah.
hand, it's quite sick, and I wanted to put it there, but it had so much detail, and it would have occupied a lot of the base. So in the end, I ended up left it out. And what else was there? Because this project was what are we right now? April, 4 months ago. So
Yeah.
let me try to go back. But yeah, from the top of my head, that was one of the things that I left out. I wanted maybe to add the 2 tries, like when he beat Fortnite in 2 tries. Which
Yeah. In fact, that 2 tries wasn't the first rough sketch that he. Well, no, in the first final sketch that David sent me, along with a weird-looking pineapple, and I was already working on the painting it, and I had at least 2 tries, and I had the pineapple already colored with the markers, and out of the sudden he's like, you know what, I changed something, blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, hopefully it's not something that I can't fix, and thankfully it was something that I wasn't able to fix. So he decided to remove the pineapple, to remove the at least 2 tries, and to change the banana mode color. So the banana wasn't supposed to be yellow as in Mark's face. He changed it to purple, and I told him, David, I'm not gonna change the banana to purple. It just looks perfect in yellow.
Yeah, I like it as it is. That's crazy.
yeah,
So from the base creation aspect, Alan, so what did you mimic this off of? Is this like what are the specs on this? Is this a Jaguar base like with the inverted pickups? Like tell us like what you recreated this based on.
Of course, and yes, it's a Jaguar bass. I was debating should I go back to a jazz bass or a Jaguar, but he has, dropped a lot of hints that he may actually have a new Jaguar signature up for sale. And I was like, you know what? Let's just keep the tradition. He's been playing Jaguars for, I mean, ever since they came back with Matt. And to be completely honest, I think it's the most comfortable shape of bass I've ever played. So I decided to go with a Jaguar shape, the same one that I use. Um, Obviously, with Mark's bass, I wasn't able to use an old parts neck. If I wanted to build a bass for him, I had to go, like I
Yeah.
gotta break the bank. Literally, my bank is just calling me right now. Hey, what's going on? But all Fender hardware. All it's an American precision Fender neck with the deluxe tuners, just like the ones he plays. Reversed or inverted Seymour Duncan quarter pounder pickups and single volume knob. And I used the knob just like Lettuce. He likes to have the heavy knurled. So I don't know if your bass has a knob that doesn't feel grapey, so to speak. Robert when I delivered the lettuce, he told me that Mark loves to have something a little bit more grippy because he sweats a lot. So it's easier for him to either turn the volume or up or down. So I decided to go with that knob. I don't know if he's gonna change it later on. And aside of that, it's just a standard Jaguar body. Um, we used a similar color to surf green as a base. I didn't go with lacquer because I didn't know how well was it going to act with the markers on. I didn't know if there was going to be any bleed or any chemical reaction. So I went with an acrylic spray paint base, and everything else was done with acrylic markers. Just like I think I sent you the time lapses for at least one of the process. If not, I'll send it to you right now.
Is this another one that just started as a big chunk of wood and you turned it into this Jaguar body, or did you have to order this one?
Oh no, it's all me. I had a spare body that I was just saving up for this project, and when David said yeah, I cut it. When he gave me when he sent me all the sketches, I had the body ready for paint. I made everything from scratch, and you can ask my wife. That was the base that as soon as I was done, finishing it and preparing it for paint, it was kept on a super locked moisture locking container. Not even she had access to it. It was like under lock. No one could see that.
Yeah, I mean, what, and this is the second one you've made for Mark, which is crazy, but what's the pressure like when you're creating this base, knowing that it's going to Mark Hoppus? And I just picture you checking out with a big chunk of wood at Home Depot, and the cashier's like, "Oh, you got a big weekend project, you're building a deck. What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm making a base for Mark Hoppus of Blink-182." But yeah, I mean, what's the pressure like as far as, I mean, making sure this motherfucker is just perfectly sanded and even and accurate? What's that like?
Well, it's I'm gonna try to post a video soon about the woodworking process because I only have videos of the painting. But when I got the wood slab for this one, I just had to make sure that there were no knots, that there were no cracks, no nothing, that the wood had the perfect moisture, so it wasn't too dry or too wet. Because if it's too wet, eventually it can either uh, get swollen or warp, and if it's too dry, when I'm trying to cut it, it can just crack like a cookie. So it was perfect, gluing it, planing it to the right thickness, and then I think that's the body that I had to take the most delicate steps throughout the whole process because like you just said, the pressure, it's for Mark. For a second I thought, okay, as long as he just has it at home, that's good. I don't expect him to play it. I never thought I'd yeah, at this point I don't even know if he's gonna play it live, but I thought for a second I was like, okay, he's gonna say cool and then just hang it in the wall or just toss it in the case and just lock it away. But the pressure was there, and I felt awful because throughout the whole process, um, I'll tell you more about it in a second. I had to set aside a couple of my orders that I was working at the moment. One of them was for Joey, Mr. Joey Blanco,
Oh,
and
he's on the Discord.
yeah, and this guy, he was like, "Okay, man, I think I'm ready for my base, blah blah," and I had to, tell him, dude, you're gonna be one of the few people that knows this. Your project is on hold for a little bit because this, and he was like, "Holy crap, dude!"
Yeah.
And yeah, so sorry about it. I'll get to work on it as soon as I'm done. And he's like, "No, dude, take your time." And the pressure was there. It was always, giving me headaches. I was just trying to figure out. I just expected. Expected Mark to love that bass, and uh, I was really nervous up to the day that I delivered it.
So you get this thing done, and so is this a full? Did you paint the whole thing this surf green, and then marker all of the pink and purple on top of it?
Yes. For a second, I thought about masking it and then just doing the tiny details with acrylic marker, but it was just gonna be much of a hassle, especially if I had two different layers of paint, two different colors, and if I mask on top of one of those, if I don't use a proper tape or if I don't pull it out properly, I can just rip the second layer of paint and ruining everything. So I was like, you know what? It's gonna take me longer. It's gonna take me a lot of markers, but I'm just gonna do it, like the old-fashioned way. Just like David, I'm a graphic designer, so I learned the hard way of doing everything on pencil and pen and paper. So that's what I did. I literally drew everything with different thickness on the markers. Um, I wasn't very, very happy at the very end because some of the colors, for instance, the white areas on the back, as soon as I clear coated it, there was some sort of reaction with the marker, and you can see the brush, well, the marker strokes, and I was like, God damn it, it looks
Yeah.
awful. But everyone told me, dude, it looks great, and as a designer, I'm not happy with it, but I don't think Mark noticed it, so let's just keep this off the record.
Yeah, I mean, there's some serious layering and different colors on this that are blended. I mean, this is insane, man, because yeah, obviously you've done, Terminal Radness and Dabs Mila, but a lot of that stuff is almost just like little art stamps, like little
Mhm.
stickers here and there. But this is some crazy shading and stuff on top of each other. So, I mean, what markers do you even use for this shit, dude?
I used they're called Posca, and they're made by Uniball. So they're expensive, if you can call them expensive. They're about $8 a marker. Um, and I used 3 or 4 different shades of purple, well, purple and pink, and 2 more for greens. And obviously within that specific shade, I had to use a thick, a medium, and a super fine marker. So we're talking about, I think I got like 80 markers in total.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah, and I mean, I love that because now I can explore more options later on, different designs. But like David said, when he was incorporating all those elements, obviously I had no idea of what the chicken was, and I was like, okay, cool. I know that chicken because Mark had it on his Twitter profile photo. But I was like, what the heck? Like the I was like, is this a panda bear? And then he's like, no, this is Tom Nook and a banana with a sword coming out. I was like, okay, dude, like I'm just a vessel. I'm just gonna draw whatever you tell me. The only reference I got, it was the Pokemon Go in the back, and I was like, okay, I know Pokemon ever since I was a kid. I didn't like Pokemon, but I know what Pokemon is, and
That's funny.
yeah, it was just like I was trying to get ready if, well, I wasn't even sure that I was gonna deliver the base to Mark. So the first the plan A was to give it to Robert, and Robert was gonna give it to Mark. He was do the favor to us. But later on, I was able to talk to Mark, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm down." But he had no idea. So for everyone asking, no, he didn't commission us. He didn't pay anything. He had no clue until the very day that I met with him. But yeah, I'll jump into that in just a second.
Yeah, so last thing on the base, and yeah, because not only, I mean, these are insane illustrations by David that he was able to design and put together, but then you have to translate that again with markers on a chunk of wood, which is just mind-blowing. I don't understand. I mean, you guys are both so talented. It's amazing. The last piece on, I guess, is the pick guard. Who chose that pick guard color, because that is such a fucking gnarly, awesome, purple, shiny thing. Who chose that?
So when I sent the design to Alan, it was purple, and like we were discussing, like, yeah, like it should be the same similar shade of color to the purple in the design. But then like Alan was always showing me like, oh, what about this and what about that? And actually, I don't know if you want to say this, Alan, but like he showed me like the first, because there's two pickers. The first one, according to Alan, was not nice, but like to me was like, whoa, it looks amazing. And then he hit me up like, look what I got, and he showed me this shiny purple. I don't know how to describe it, Alan. I will let it to you, but I was just like, whoa, yeah, that is the one for sure.
Oh my
Yeah, so the
gosh.
first one, yeah, I just sent you guys a photo. For the first one, I used a blank, just a completely blank white pick guard, and I spray painted it with the deepest purple that I was able to find, and it looked rad. It looked similar to the acrylic markers that I was using. And the very next day, I spray painted. I mean, I clear coated it, and it had this crazy chemical reaction, and it didn't stick. It just wrinkled, and I was like, "Heck, thank you, Liz Dynamite." I was, and I mean, it looks good. It looks textured. It feels super rad. But I knew that for Mark, if he would ever try to play it, because at that point I was okay, maybe he'll play it at home. He wouldn't play that. No, it's not up to standards. So I contacted my local vendor. No, actually, my picker supplier, and I told them, "What do you have that it's in purple?" And they said, "Okay, we have perloid purple, or we have mirrored purple." And I was like, okay, I think Mark just said a couple streams ago that he hates perloid, and then he changed his mind, obviously. And I decided to go with the mirrored one. It was expensive. The single sheet of pickguard was like $85.
Oh shit.
And yeah, and I was like, yeah, overnight that shit. And it was like an extra $20 to overnight it. I got it literally in 2 days, and yeah, I cutted it, and I wasn't so sure. And my wife saw that, and she was like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna go crazy about it." And yeah,
Dude, it's
and that's the first
it's
thing.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
When I saw the base, I'm like, holy shit, man. It's so shiny and beautiful. And then I mean, I think it's just so unique and the color scheme is so rad. And I envision like him on stage with that and then Skiba on stage with his green and like he has that green and metallic blue looking one. Oh man, that would look gnarly. So you guys have it done. So how long did the process take? You said you thought about this mid-December when you first, decided to do this. When was it officially done?
From the design perspective,
um,
I started working on it like probably next day. As I spoke with Allan, so probably the last day of the year, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start with this. And I was obviously, as you were saying, like the pressure, like, oh my god, this needs to look like the color palette needs to be on spot. Every
Yeah.
detail, the element needs to be on spot. So obviously, I was struggling, like, oh, is this good enough? Is this good enough? And yeah, like I kept updating Allan. Okay, this is how it's going. It took me probably just the design part, like yeah, like probably 2 weeks maybe. And then we are like, okay,
yeah.
Allan, this is the last one. I'm not sending you anything else. And after that, it was all Allan.
Okay. So Alan, you take over. How long was it on your side?
I'm trying to find a photo that I set up as the starting point. I had it fully painted in the base green on January the 22nd.
Hmm.
I started painting it on February the 3rd, and I was done with all the drawings on February 19th. So it took me 2 weeks to paint the art.
Wow. So your hope was to get it to Mark by his birthday, right? Which is in March.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the plan.
Yes.
So not so so you finish this base for Mark Hoppus, and a lot of people can just make Mark Hoppus presents and gifts and guitars in their bedroom or wherever and just pray that they can somehow get it to him. But not only do you have to make something rad, you have to figure out how the hell to get it to him. So I think you guys missed the birthday deadline, but what ends up happening to where Alan, I remember one day I saw you on Instagram in your story, you were just heading to LA. You just posted like an Instagram story of just heading to LA on the freeway. And I didn't think anything of it because I know you're in the area. So I figured maybe you guys were just visiting or something. And then later in that day, I see Mark with a fucking guitar that you guys made him. I'm like, oh my God, he just met Mark and gave him this guitar. So tell us what you can about how you even were able to deliver this. And then obviously what Mark thought about it.
For sure. So I'm gonna back up a little bit. Um, Robert was on board with that. He was like, "Yeah, just let me know whenever you want to meet, and I'll hand over the bass." And I know that Mark has been trying to make a hybrid between the Ernie Ball Music Man, but with the quarter pounder pickups. And it wasn't that long ago. I think it was mid-February that I also decided to make a pick guard with those specifics. A Music Man, like the curved pick guard with the precision pickup routing. And I sent them a photo through Instagram. This was on February 20 something. And we were in LA actually for my wife's birthday. And I sent them the photo through Instagram, and he's like, "Rad, I like that." And I was like, "Okay." that's as far as it's gonna go. And the next day he was like, okay, so how do we arrange for me to have that pick guard? I'm like, well, just give me an address and I can send it over. Or I mean, I would rather hand it in person. And he's like, yeah. The first thing he told me is, I'm down for a handoff. I'm fully vaccinated in 2 weeks. I was just like, oh shit, like, is Mark telling me that he wants to meet up? Dude, that would be so rad. And I told him I'm gonna get vaccinated in 2 weeks as well. So that just works perfectly for me. And yeah, he just asked me to, switch to messages because he doesn't like Instagram messages. I think he just gets bombarded through all the social media, and I get it from the, uh, musician's perspective. I can imagine that's something David and I always talk about. Like, how many messages does he wakes up to? How does he even catch
Oh,
up with all that?
dude, even on like Blink Online, I get a ton of people, and you get messages every time somebody mentions you in the story or whatever. So I mean, I can
Yeah,
only imagine with millions of followers how crazy it
exactly.
gets.
So knowing that he wanted to meet up for the pick guard, I told my wife, as soon as I come back, I have to put everything on hold. Like, all the other projects are gonna have to wait a little bit. And that's when I decided to, clear code the base and assemble it. And I set it up. I fully set it up, but somehow I wasn't happy with the sound, so I had to go to my local music shop. Fun fact: they were servicing one of Tom DeLonge's guitar as well. Apparently, one of them that had a broken headstock. They were fixing that in there. Either way, I
Oh
took him
shit,
there and I told him, "Yeah, I'll send you a photo right now."
that's pretty
I
cool.
just asked the guys, check this bass out. Let me know if there's something wrong with it, because I don't think it's playing well. Maybe just gonna need a quick setup, or maybe it needs a shim. The thing is that the pick guard, it was too thick, and I thought that the neck was too deep. I just thought that I did something wrong, and I was so mad at myself. I was like, dude, this this is gonna be thrown away in the trash right now. And no, they told me that it was just fine. I think they just did like a quick setup and fixed a little bit of the truss rod. I don't even know. They just told me we didn't have to do anything.
I'm
And
picturing
the
the
bait,
guitar tech. Sorry, I'm picturing the person at the guitar place. You bring this in, they're like, "What the fuck is wrong with this guy? He likes teddy bears, weird chickens, knives, bananas."
should I call the cops right
Yeah,
now?
should we call the cops on this guy? This guy's a little off. Okay, sorry,
So
sorry.
no, it's all good, man. I had the base ready by March the 2nd, so you can tell that from February the 13th to March 2nd, I rushed up on the clear coding, on the buffing, on the setting up, and everything, without thinking of the pickguard replacement. And I had it ready by that day, the first week of March, and I was just, okay, how do I bring this up to Mark? I don't want to be like, hey, do you want to meet up in your birthday or something like that? I was already fully vaxxed. And the week before, I think he flew to where did he go to? I just He went
Idaho,
up
I
with
think.
Sky. Idaho, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were there for, I think, 2 weeks. I'm not so sure, but I was like, okay, he's gonna spend his weekend over there, and this is just gonna be fantastic. It's gonna give me more time to, be more nervous. And I just sent him.
Right.
I just messaged him like, hey, dude, whenever you come back, just let me know. I would be more than happy to drive up there and hand you the pick guard, because at that point he only was expecting a pick guard. And then I never heard back from him. I don't know if it's the same with you guys, but Mark is a man of very, very few words through any social media. And out of the sudden, on a Twitch stream, someone asked him about lettuce, and he said, "Well, I use Lettuce to record a new Blink-182 song, and I'm gonna meet up with Allan on the weekend so we can talk about the auction." And I was like, "Holy crap! What did he say?" Even my wife was in the kitchen; she came out. What did he say?
Oh, that was news to
And
you? You weren't aware of that at the time?
I wasn't aware that we were meeting on the weekend. I knew that he recorded the song. He sent me a photo a day or two before, and he told me, "Don't share this." And it's really hard because Mark told me a lot of things that I wasn't able to share, and I was like, "God damn it!" Just like, I'm aching to. And my wife was like, "You
Yeah.
gotta be
Nope,
quiet."
don't do it. Don't share. It's okay.
And so that same day, Wednesday, as soon as he was done with the stream, I texted him, "Hey, Mark, I just shared that you want to meet up on the weekend. Just let me know when, what time, where, and I'll be there." And obviously, he didn't get back to me. Thursday came. Same thing.
Say the
Good
word
morning.
and I'll be there.
Exactly,
Thought of
exactly.
that.
And Friday came in, and I was like, okay, so he said that he wants to meet up tomorrow. I have no clue. I don't even know if that's true or not. And I just sent him that last message, and I was like, dude, I'm sorry to be a pain in the butt, but I just want to make sure that we're still down for tomorrow. He just said tomorrow, 2 p.m. And I was like, cool, where? And like an hour later, he just sent me the address, and I'm like, okay, I'll be there. And that was it. And I was like, okay.
Nice.
I was going through training at my current new role, and I didn't focus on my training at all. I was just like, my heart was pounding out of my chest. I was
It's
like, I
funny.
texted my wife, we're going to LA tomorrow. We gotta find a babysitter. And she's like, well, my mom is out of town, so we're gonna have to bring Zoe. I'm like, okay, Zoe, you're gonna have to be good. And she was like, yeah, daddy, whatever. And so this is something that it's also something that I want to share. But ever since we started the project, David and I, we were talking about delivering it, if possible, in person, but both of us. And
Yeah.
I just feel so awful because, with all the restrictions and everything, I told David the same Friday that Mark told me, like, hey, he just told me that he wants to meet up tomorrow. But at the same time, all the time I was thinking, what if David is already on flight and Mark tells me, you know what, I can make it. Let's reschedule for next week. Or what if David has to go through quarantine? It was so much at stake, and I just felt awful because I wanted David to be there as well. So um, I was like, okay, you know what? As soon as I'm delivering the base to Mark, let's try to make like a quick FaceTime call or something, so you can also say something. And David made a nice card for Mark as well, which we're not gonna read the contents, but it's like that teacup on The Office that
Uh,
Jim gives to Pam.
Dear Mark, I know you
But
hear this all the time, but I'm your biggest fan.
Literally was kind
yes,
of like those cards that says, "Thanks for supporting your artist, your local artist,"
yeah, yeah,
kind of vibe.
Oh,
But yeah,
nice.
and if I may jump
yeah.
in, yeah, with Alan, we were discussing like, yeah, it would be cool if the both of us like, yeah, could give the base to Mark. But obviously, with all the restrictions, and we were discussing this every other day, like, yeah, maybe it's gonna be impossible, like, because we don't know if I might have to quarantine, let's say 10 days just before that. So it was like, yeah, we'll discuss that on the last stages. Like, if we can, great. If not, it's fine. But yeah, in the end, it was like, no, like, go ahead, Alan. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, who
Yeah,
knows how long it would have been. And David, I think you'll get a chance, on an upcoming tour or something, probably to like hold it backstage with Mark or something. I'm sure. But yeah, that's a bit of a predicament because you guys both work so hard on it. But David, other side of the world's still kind of in a weird spot. So that is a bit of a bummer, but I'm glad you got to at least send a note or FaceTime or whatever.
Yeah. I'm,
yeah. So go ahead, David.
No, so yeah, so that was the plan. Obviously, because of the short time that Alan had with to meet with Mark, it was more like it was him. But then yeah, like I text with Mark a little bit to say like, oh, I hope you enjoy your bass, da, da. And then, yeah, he said that it was awesome. And then like luckily for us, he got to stream and he played online. So I think you all guys got it, like him playing Mod, I Miss You, Adam Song, all of those songs. So it was really nice to see him like having so much fun with it. So yeah, like
Yeah. So Alan, you meet up with Mark, and so you're carrying, I guess, the pick guard, and then what? You have the bass in a case, just hauling around LA, like were you just waiting on a corner? I mean, how did the surprise go? I guess I'm asking.
That was so hilarious because yeah, obviously I had a huge ass case, and when I was just able to bring a pickguard, in my hand, and he asked he asked me to meet him at a coffee shop in Beverly Hills. It's a matcha shop, and we decided to go as early as I could. And bad luck, my wife had to work that morning, and I told her you need to be off from work at 10 so we can leave by then and get to the shop around 2. Um, traffic was so awful, man. You have no idea. It took us almost the 4 hours to get to LA, and Yeah, traffic is just brutal.
Dude,
We got
by the way,
there.
I'm going to San Diego in a couple weeks for the first time ever. I'm
Oh,
stoked. And I'm
oh,
driving up
let
to
me know
LA. So
when.
yeah, it's in a couple weekends. I'm doing like a little baseball trip. So I'm gonna catch the Padres and then I'm gonna drive up to LA and catch the Dodgers. So how long is it from San Diego to LA, by the way? Because I'm gonna be making that drive very soon.
Usually it doesn't take that long from San Diego to Santana, Costa Mesa, which is southern LA. It takes you an hour and a half, maybe two with traffic. But within LA, traffic is so bad that from, Santana, which is around Disneyland, to Beverly Hills, it took us another 2 hours.
Oh
So
my
it all depends
God.
where do you want to go. Yeah, you might as well be ready for a little bit of, a traffic jam. Just bring your favorite Spotify or Apple Music playlist, and you'll be fine.
All right, good to know. Good to know. So
Yeah.
you guys,
And
so you planned on the coffee shop, doesn't work out. So where do you end up having to make the handoff?
Well, so we got to the coffee shop and it was packed. There were only three little tables outside, and they wouldn't let you stay inside of the shop. Just when you order and then you had your coffee, then get out of here. So I was like, okay, I need to take a piss. I need to use the restroom right now. And my wife was like, okay, I need to go as well. So she went first. I stayed with my baby on the stroller and then with the base, on the sidewalk. And then she came out, and I was like, okay, it's my turn. I gotta go right now. It's almost 2. And I was washing my hands, and then I got a text on my watch, and I was like, "Okay, my wife just told me that Mark is here." I was like, "Should I just, dry my hands?" I don't know. I was just like coming out. I put my glasses on, and I saw him with my wife, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is it.
Oh,
Don't
bless your
cry."
wife. She's out front holding it down for you.
Yeah, and I was
That's
like, "Okay,
awesome.
man, don't cry, don't faint, don't pass out. Don't. You gotta be cool. You gotta speak your better English. I mean, the best English of your life has to come out right now. And I saw this guy, which is tall. He's huge. And first thing, I don't know. I don't even know why at this point I did that, but I was like, "Hey, Mark," and you know that it's really common right now to do the elbow bump.
Yeah.
And I was like that, and I was like, "What are you doing, this dude?" And he was so cool. He was like, "Hey, what's up?" And he did as well. I'm like, "Okay, we got off to a good start." And the first thing we noticed that the coffee shop was packed, and he told me, "Well, do you want to take a walk? Do you want to go somewhere else?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know the area. I've never been to Beverly Hills, so I'll follow you." And he's, "Yeah, what is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's your pick card." He pointed at the case, and yeah, it's your pick card. And he's like, "Okay, cool. Do you want to put it in the car?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." So we walked a couple blocks, and we got to his car. He put the case inside of the car, and then he was like, "Okay, let's take a walk. Let's go around the block." And yeah, he's so cool, man. He's so down to earth. We're walking. My wife was behind us with the stroller. My baby was on her iPad. And all of a sudden, he's like, "Hey, do you mind if we buy something for Sky so she can cook right now?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." We were waiting outside of the store, and that's when he showed me the song, and I was like, "Holy crap!" That's all I can say. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
can say
know.
anything.
I'm not gonna dig. You're probably the only person that's heard that, by the way. That's insane.
Oh man.
I can't
Yeah,
wait for New
it's I
Blink. We won't dig too deep into it, but that's crazy that he used a bass that you made on a fucking
yes.
upcoming Blink song. And I guess I do want to mention real quick. In the last episode, towards the end, we were talking about this lettuce bass that you
Hmm.
recreated and you were going to use it to raise funds. And ultimately, this auction just went down. It just ended last week. And you guys raised 7.7K for Children's Hospital of LA, which is just amazing, man. So huge kudos to you and Mark for doing that. That's incredible. I know you know, and a lot of the listeners know, man. Like if I can combine cool shit, especially like memorabilia and stuff like that, along with helping people and helping kids, to me that's just the coolest thing in the world. So that was awesome, man. I was so happy to see that happen. And dude, that guitar was sitting in his studio forever.
Yeah.
It was always in the background on Twitch and stuff. So happy for you guys to do that. That was super rad.
Heck yeah. I'm so stoked. And like you just said, I'm so happy that he didn't go for the 3,500 that someone offered at the very beginning.
Totally.
Yeah.
So you're chilling, and has he asked you what's in the case at this point, or was it still in the car?
Yeah, like, oh, that's a very
Yeah,
heavy pick.
Yeah. He's probably like, you want
no,
me to
we
sign your
actually left
bass?
it.
I'll sign your bass if you want me to sign your bass. It's okay.
I thought of that for a second, just bringing that up. Like, you know what? I don't want to be that annoying fan and just say, "Oh, I brought my case. I mean, my base, so you can sign it." But I didn't say anything. I was just like too nervous. To be honest with you, it felt like it was an hour spent with them, but then I realized when we were done, I realized that it was only 15 minutes.
Wow.
But yeah, we just took a walk around the block, and he was so cool, man. He asked me where I'm from, how did I get into building the bases, and when I told him that I wasn't, taught, that I never had working classes at woodworking classes at school, that everything was learned basically from YouTube and trial and error. He was like, "Oh shit, like you're doing a great job." Because David is not gonna let me lie. Down in South America, there's nothing like optional classes like in here. You can take like a woodshop class, and then you can focus on your degree. If you wanna take a woodshop class, you're gonna be a carpenter for life. So
Oh
I didn't
wow.
want to be a carpenter. Ever since I started university, the 5 years that I took, it was from day one, everything graphic design, history, math, and all that. There's no optional. There's no chance to have, like from a different bucket of classes. So when I told him that, and I told him uh, how I learned and everything, he was really in shock. We're talking about family. And like I said, he's so down to earth, because if somehow my wife would fall behind a little bit, he would be the one to stop and just say, "Hey, Melissa, how's it going?" And he would go down, "Hey, Zoe, how you doing? You like unicorns?" Because my
Oh.
wife, my daughter has a lot of unicorn stickers on the iPad. So he's like, "Yeah." I told Mark, "Yeah, those are the only two cool things that Zoe has learned: unicorns and Blink-182."
Ah.
And we were heading back to the car. I didn't want to take more of his time, and I told him, "Oh, you want to check out the pick art?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then super casual. That's something that also, like, I'm still mesmerized that people would walk right next to him and don't realize that it's freaking Mark Hoppus. They were
It's the
like, "Yeah,
mask.
whatever."
It's the
Yeah,
mask.
dude. Well, it's the mask. He was wearing the "Hi, my name is Mark" $100 T-shirt, but still, it's the hair. His hair was, you can go wrong with that hair. And so he just laid the case in the sidewalk. He was kneeling down on the street, and he opened the case, and he just, I don't know, he just stared at it. He stared at it for a couple of seconds. He was wow, and he read the card. He was so stoked in the card, and he grabbed the base, and he's like, "Who did this?" I'm like, "Well, this is a gift from David and myself. Birthday present, just a small token of appreciation of everything you do. You are like the coolest guy ever." And he was just speechless for a minute or two. He was like, "This is awesome. Like, how can I ever thank you?" I'm like, "No, dude. Like, I hope you like it." And he's like, "How the heck am I gonna like this? Look at this." And yeah, he was just looking at it. He looked at all the designs, and he was like, "Thank you so much." I think that's the longest conversation that we had throughout the whole time. And
Gosh.
I wasn't able to let go of that moment, and I was like, "You know what? I hate to be the annoying fan, but can I take a photo with you?" And he's like, "Of course, you want to take a photo with the base?" I'm like, "Sure." And yeah,
Ah. Yeah, so
that's
that's a picture that's I'm assuming is up on your Instagram. You guys are like up against a sidewalk or something and just holding the base. Man, what a
we
cool
I
moment.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like I said, I didn't want to be that fan, and seriously, there's only two photos that were taken with Mark. The first one is that one that I posted, and the second one was when he was telling bye to Zoe. He was, that guy that went down to the stroller. "See you later, Zoe." And I just whispered on the side, "Oh, you said you want to take a photo with your uncle Mark?" He set the case in the sidewalk. He sat on the case. "Yeah, let's take a photo." I'm like, dude, like, who does that? Like, he's such a rad guy. And
Ah.
yeah, we took a photo with Zoe. Zoe's famous already. And
That's awesome,
yeah,
man. And I mean, think of the story that she's gonna have, when she sees that picture in 30
yeah.
years, 40 years. I mean, dude, that's crazy, dude. That's such an awesome story, man. I'm so stoked he got that. And so when, I think it was later that day, all of a sudden now that he had it, you guys started posting pictures. You guys did a cool video on it. By the way, whose YouTube is that on? Is that on both of your guys's or on yours, David?
On
Yeah.
both.
Both of us. Yeah.
Okay. And what's that called, by the way, if people want to look it up?
I think it's called. We did a bass for Mark Hoppus from Blink-182.
Okay, yeah, rad. It's well done, man. You guys are making my videos look like shit. Had nice
Oh no.
transitions, well shot. No,
I,
it's
I,
great.
no, because I'm sorry if I interrupt you there, but I mean, I finished my part of the process, and it was all Allan's then, and I was just like, like I had like a month off basically of like, okay, we have 1 month till the delivery date, so I was just like, oh, what if we do like a behind the scenes? So I start texting Allan like, hey, what about if you like record yourself making the bass, and I put up together like this video of showing like the behind the scenes of it. And he was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So yeah, it was from there like, okay, let me just kind of like make a script of more or less of like what I would like to talk about in the video and for you
Gosh.
to see, and we will just like go for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty cool. Like, because I wanted to showcase also like the process of Allan doing it, because I'm speechless, Allan. Like your work is amazing. I can't even put it into words.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
swear.
It's crazy, man. I mean, it's just the end product and the story. I mean, that's why I wanted to have you guys on, man. This is once in a lifetime stuff. This is just an incredible thing that came together. And, I saw he like his next Twitch stream, like he showed it off on stream, and I was like, oh my God, these are my friends that made this for Mark. And I didn't even know about it. You guys kept this like the most top secret thing. And then to see him, it may have been a day or two later, but all of a sudden I get the notification on the Discord that Mark is live on Twitch, and I tune in, and he's fucking playing Adam's song on that guitar, and I was like, oh my God, dude, like that is so rad. So I mean, wrapping this all up, how was that to all the work that went into it and the design and everything? I mean, what's it like to look up there and know that Mark has this bass that you guys collaborated on in his studio, and he's sitting there playing Adam's song with it live, and he did like a whole set with it, but he's sitting there playing it
Yeah.
live on Twitch, man. What's that like?
I mean, to me it was crazy. It was surreal, to be honest. And just to put like the situation, I was asleep when he was doing that. Like I think it was probably for me it was like 5 a.m. and like I'm sleeping, and I receive a call, and I see, and it's like one side bridge from the Discord, like calling me through Discord, and I'm just like,
Oh,
what? What's going
I
on?
didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, and just like okay, like I pick up the call, and it's like, oh, he's playing your bass, and I'm like, what? So I just woke up at 5 a.m. Like, okay, let me go to the studio. I tune in, and I see him playing. By the time I tune in, he already played a song, and I don't know what else. But he started playing, I think, Mutt, and to me it was like crazy. I was like, is this really happening? And
Yeah.
like days later, I'm just telling Allan, like, man, like this is so weird. It feels so surreal. It feels like I'm just gonna wake up now and be like, oh, that was a good dream. But
Really cool dream.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. That's how I feel. I don't know how you feel now, Allan.
It's still surreal. I'm just so happy that he did a second stream, because when he showed it off, as soon as he got home, I was driving. I was stuck in traffic, so I was able to, set the iPod on the dashboard, and I wasn't driving more than 5 miles an hour, so I was able to, watch for the most of it, and I listened to it until he started playing Divorced, and I was like, okay, that's as far as I'm gonna go. Let's just drive back home. But the next day that he was playing with it, and then he actually explained the whole reference of the bass and everything, I was just so stoked, and I was so, um, so proud that we decided to go for it, because not only was from the design perspective, also from the craftsmanship, I think that's mm, our best job. And just the single fact that he played it, and not for just one song, that he played songs that were so iconic, that he was actually asking people, what song do you want to hear right now, and he played Violence, which is one of my all-time favorite songs, and then he played When They Clear. He even played Plus 44, and
Yeah, man,
Yes.
that's crazy.
Optimistic Jesus told me something the next day, and I didn't realize it until I rewatched the whole stream. He told me, I haven't seen Mark this happy throughout the last year. So
Oh
I think you
man.
guys did a great job. And yeah, I went back to all the footage, and I'll send you a photo right now. There's a part of a song in which he's playing, and you can see he's enjoying it.
Yeah.
And that also means that that's something I also talked to Tiny with David, Big Ugly Ape, and Joey. I'm pretty sure that he's just aching to go back to touring and to go back in the stage, and I'm so happy that he's more pushed into it. Hopefully the bass will make a stage soon. He said he liked it, so hopefully we can see either a pen or either that bass on a, I don't know, on the stage. That would be so rad.
Oh
That
my
would be like, you know
gosh.
what?
Yeah, could you imagine? I mean, hopefully shows. I've seen like I think some places are pushing for fall, so I'm hopeful that shows will return, obviously in some capacity by the end of the year. I guess we'll see. But could you imagine that next Blink show, man? And he just busts out on the stage and he's holding that bass you guys made. Holy
that-
shit! I'll be
Seriously,
crying.
yeah.
My next Blink show, man. I swear, I think honestly, I thought about this the other day. I think the emotion from my next like big concert, which really the only concerts I go to are Blink usually. I think I'll be overwhelmed with emotion and I might fucking cry, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so you know, I'll be in the front row just crying, my friends made that. I know the people that made that bass. I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? Oh, dude. Yeah.
No,
And hopefully, you know, David, hopefully you'll make a trip over here, or at least I don't know if Blink will be playing anywhere over there that you can catch it, but maybe one day we can all meet up at a Blink show and it'll just be super fucking rad.
Yeah, that will be awesome. And I was telling Allan, like, for sure the next Blink show announced, for sure I will try to make it. And I told my girlfriend, like, but if they announce a show in California, but I don't know, fall, like, we're going. Like,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, totally.
It's
I'm
not
there.
optional. You must be there.
Dope. All right. Well, you know, that wraps up everything I really wanted to get into. I mean, this was such a pleasure. I learned so much. This is exactly what I wanted out of this episode. So I appreciate you guys' time on doing this. This was such a pleasure. He is at Allan Corona on Instagram. Again, if you haven't heard the previous pod with Allan, go back and listen to it because we dig deep into how he got into this, the process on making these. It's really rad. Definitely give him a follow on Instagram and you'll see all these ones he's made. It's insane. David is at Daily Dave with 2 V's on Instagram. You have some beautiful art, man. I told you before we started that you have such a unique style, dude. So keep it up. As soon as I see some of your art, I can just tell it's yours instantly just by the colors and you've got your unique style to it. So I appreciate both your time, man. This was such a pleasure just catching up as friends, and I hope that people enjoy the conversation on the piece.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Oh yeah.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thank you for having us, and yeah, take care, man.
Wasting time thinking about a girl, stealing her away from her world. She and I would run away. I think of all the things I'd say. We'd talk about important things, and I'd picture it in my dreams. She'd teach me about modern art, and I'd show her it's okay to fart, and maybe I'd impress her by being in a stupid band. And maybe if I act real tough, she'll let me hold her hand, and maybe I'd win her heart by writing this song about her. And sometimes I sit at home and wonder if she's sitting at home thinking of me, and wondering if I'm sitting at home thinking about her, or am I just wasting my time? the Kinkos when I made fun of that guy. Remembering the look she gave me when I told her that I used to fry. I really wanna ask her out, but my ego could never take it. And even if I got the balls, you know that the cougar would never make it. And in my town, you can't drive naked. And maybe I'd impress her by being in a stupid band. And maybe if I act real tough, she'll let me hold her hand. And maybe I'd win her heart by writing this song about her. And sometimes I sit at home and wonder if she's sitting at home thinking of me, and wondering if I'm sitting at home thinking about her. Or am I just wasting my time? 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 Wasting my time thinking about a girl.